All right, we are officially live here with the Broker Buzz, and got Nim and Cameron here with us. Cameron somehow looks like he's like in one of the Saw movies.
It is.
Let's see. All right.
What's up, Cameron? What's up, Ty?
What's up, Nimesh?
Good, just
How's
chilling.
Texas?
Texas is good. It's good. Actually, the temperature is getting a little bit cooler in the evenings and the weekend and the nights. So, like this morning, woke up to 70 degrees, but it'll be like 94 by the end of the day. So,
Yep. Not here, cooled down big time, and we're getting some hurricane remnants.
That's
Are
not
you?
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, little housekeeping. Want to make sure, since we're going to like multiple different streams, if you guys can't hear us, just give us a thumbs up or put it in the comments, and they'll show up here and make sure everybody can hear on all the different streams. Because I just got an error on one of them, but I think we'll be okay. It was mine, so I broke it.
Uh-oh.
It happens.
Yeah, see, it's gone live. So it's kind of fun. It's cool. Why'd you decide to do this, Tyler?
You made me. I mean, I was already doing it, and then you're like, "Hey, I'm going to be there every time, so can we do something a little bit different?" And
Yeah.
so originally it was Thai Talk, and then you're like, "Hey, man, if I'm going to be there every time, we need to rename it." I was like, "That's fine. I've only had one official Thai Talk, so here we are. It's literally just us talking about real estate, anything and everything, and even off topic. I'm sure we'll get into sports and garbage like that. So,
Sports ball.
yeah. But no, what do you guys want to talk about?
Y'all see the game last night? Miami and
No, I missed it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Don't start off
4-2
with
up.
sports. We're doing a real estate show. We'll cover
Are
it.
we doing a real estate show? But yeah, look, it's just one of those where hey, you get into your careers and then suddenly something happens, and how do you keep moving forward, right? That guy Tua, that's like his fourth concussion just in the past couple of years. So do you tell him to retire, or does he continue to do what he's loving?
Man, I'm pulling the Andrew Luck on that, and I'm not risking permanent damage.
Right.
So,
no, for sure.
Yeah, I think, I hate equating this to real estate, but we have the hit by a bus plan in here. And so one of the things we talk about is like, hey, if someone is documenting their job on a regular basis, if something happened, and it could be just using Loom, right? You can download the Loom extension for your computer, and you can document everything you do and exactly how you do it, and narrate and say why you do it that way. But we've made sure that everyone in our office kind of documents what they do, so that if they're out for an extended amount of time, we can jump in and right into place.
Yep.
That's it. Yep.
We're
off to a great start.
Yeah, we're off to a great start. Cameron, I know you got a lot to talk about. What you want to talk about?
Oh my gosh. No, just craziness. It's like the Wild West in real estate, and we're hearing all these different plans and all these schemes, and like how people are going to use this to their advantage and all the changes and stuff like that. So just curious what other people are seeing in other markets. I'm surprised that we're seeing it go that direction in our market, because we've always had buyer agency. So, we've always had exclusive buyer agency. So it's funny that now people are thinking like the world has changed when our world really hasn't changed in, most aspects. So interesting stuff.
What are you seeing that's weird or scheme wise?
This whole concept of like making it hidden, hiding compensation, and just saying like, give it to me when you send the offer and things like that. So, we went from full transparency to no transparency for some agents, and I'm continuing to counsel my agents to be transparent to their fellow realtors in the market. Just because I think it's, what we should do.
I think that's a good point there, Cameron, right? As far as full transparency, that's what most of us have done that. But have you noticed something? Have you noticed, instead of everybody getting freaked out about this whole, hey, we have to get all this stuff done prior to showing a house or getting this information. A lot of the agents in our market, they kind of know each other fairly well. They kind of trust each other fairly well. And I get it. Everything in writing has to be in writing. But ultimately, a lot of people are just taking the word of this type of realtor that they know that they're at the top of their game. They know that they're up and up. So they're going and showing and getting things done, versus waiting for paperwork to get done and all of that. What are you seeing on that?
You mean in terms of just taking a verbal, like, here's what we're going to do, or
Right.
yeah? No, I'm always get it in writing person, and that probably comes from the fact that my dad was an attorney or is an attorney. So get it in writing has always kind of been like what I've been taught for my entire life. So yes, I do agree, but it has surprised me that some very reputable companies in our market have gone the secretive route that I never would have expected in a million years to see. So very interesting. And I know some of their agents are not happy about it. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Real quick, is the secret route, is that a result of their listing contracts have changed and they're no longer putting buyer broker compensation in the listing contract, or is it they're just not disclosing, which they should be?
Yeah, so our listing agreements are provided by the state, so they're statewide. They're still using them, but yes, they're omitting the buyer brokerage compensation off the listing agreement. So it only covers the listing side compensation. So yes, correct.
Got it.
So they're just saying basically, well, we'll talk about compensation after we get your offer. And I don't think my buyers can make have the full picture to make an offer without knowing it, up front. So. We know the listing agents already had the discussion with the seller, so they have an idea. So,
it's interesting. It's interesting to see that different dynamic and different mindset of how that works. And, I talked to Gary and Deborah when we were out at BSC, and that's how their listing contract is. And I think, we are kicking the can down the road, and that's eventually what it's going to end up being anyway. But in the meantime, it was in my Tech with Ty last week, and got the new tees in. So I have your addresses. You'll be getting one. But no, I had another broker comment because I went on and clarified something. Somebody in one of the Cincinnati real estate groups posted like, quit calling me for compensation. It's like, well, that's my responsibility when I'm representing a buyer 100%. And they have an agreement with me. Like, if you're not offering it, that's fine. Just tell me you're not offering it. Mm-hmm. But if you are offering it, you have a duty to disclose it. Our contract actually says it directs you. And then NAR's guidance even goes as far to say as that falls under the truthfulness, honesty, and disclosure. Like if there is a compensation offered, it has to be disclosed. And I had another broker even comment on that post, and he was like, where does it say that? I'm like, this is directly from my attorney. This is I'm not making this up, pulling it out of my ass.
Yep.
So let me get this straight. You're not only educating the consumer of how things are supposed to be done, you're educating all of your agents, but now you're actually educating your competition and brokers and agents just so we can get a smooth transaction done. All right?
Constantly, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, really quick, want a quick shout out to Paul Bradley, Dana Tuggle, and Robert Little.
Damn.
Good watching crew right now.
Oh yeah,
I know.
We gotta get Paul Bradley on one of these. He's like all over social media, from TikToks to Instagram Reels to what he's doing for his agents. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, when I first saw Paul on TikTok years ago, I was like, "What is this guy doing?" And then because I didn't even understand TikTok at that point, and then it just started all making sense. I'm like, "Dude, he's crushing it." So kudos to you.
Yeah, good job, Paul.
All right, so obviously my Tech with Ty was very focused, and this is much to Cameron's dismay. My Tech with Ty was focused quite a bit this week on the iOS, or I'm sorry, the new iPhone. So Nimesh, first of all, did you order yours?
No, so I don't think I need a new iPhone. No. I'm just waiting for Monday, the 16th, when the iOS 18 comes out. That's all I really care about. It's just the iOS 18. I'll be honest with you. I've learned so much from you just on the fact that the whole recording part of it. Every single meeting I'm in now, I use Otter for now until the iOS 18 comes out and we can do it directly. But I use Otter. I had a big office meeting in Austin yesterday, So we used Otter. We got it recorded completely, and then we didn't even put it into a different AI. We just used the Otter AI, and I was able to send out meeting notes for the whole office and people that didn't come to it. They were able to see that and also summarize it for the people that were there. So I think it's pretty amazing. We're getting to the point now where I'm actually telling my team that, hey, when you have consultations with buyers and sellers, go ahead and start using that as well, so you can have a nice little follow-up with everybody.
I freaking love that.
Yeah, so that's gonna be our little policy now for my team, at least, to say, hey, everything gets recorded and then stick it into ChatGPT and come up with that way you can't forget, because you're sitting there in an hour long or an hour and a half long listing presentation or 30 to 45 minute buyer consultation. Well, this will remind them exactly what you talked about, right? So.
Yep. What model phone do you have?
I had the 15, so I'm okay.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And Cameron, you just showed off your phone book. What do you have there?
I got the Pixel 9 Pro Fold last week, and it's pretty money, especially when reviewing, contracts on a small screen out in the field, etc. That used to be a pain in the butt, but now this makes it a ton easier. In fact, I was at an inspection this morning reviewing some stuff, and it definitely helps out. This is not cool, but this definitely, as I almost dropped it, that definitely works out a little bit better. So,
do that again. Do that again.
Drop it. So that is not cool. That's definitely better. And so honestly, like reviewing contracts and everything, to have something in your pocket that's no thicker than my old Pixel 8 Pro, to go to a, basically an 8-inch squared screen, definitely helps a lot with DocuSign and everything. So definitely a lot more productive out in the field.
Well, I hate saying this because
Apple will do it like 4 years from now. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's just a pretty.
It'll be magical, actually.
Yeah, what's going to happen though is that you're out and about, especially in today's environment. You're meeting people. You got to get things signed right then and there, or if you have an open house, you can show them something else. Pretty easy for you to do that, right?
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Does that have a pen or a stylus with it?
No, it doesn't. Obviously, it supports a normal stylus, but nothing like the old Note. I did have the Note 7 that was banned from airplanes back in the day. So that got me on the Pixel train right away. After that, I've had every Pixel since the first one. So,
no, you're absolutely right. Apple will come out with a foldable in 4 years.
Magic.
And it will be magical.
It will.
Did you feel insignificant though? Because I know right after the Apple event, was it Huawei?
Oh, yeah.
The trifold.
The trifold. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's a little too far. Pretty soon it'll be a quad fold, and you'll actually be able to play that game that we used to play in elementary school and like fold it out and like, do you live in a mansion? Why not?
I don't know if Abby's watching.
It'll be this weird.
Abby really wants a hologram.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
She just wants a hologram.
I would do that.
Like working with Minority Report, right?
I was just gonna say Minority Report. I can't wait for that to happen.
Definitely.
Just especially imagine you're doing a meeting, right? You're doing a meeting in front of a lot of people. You're just like pulling things out and like moving this around.
Throwing stuff. You're like, You could just you could throw buyer agent compensation right at the buyer agent. It's like right at.
Is Abby monitoring Agent After Hours right now?
She is. Yep. She's
okay. She just said yes. So that's why. So yeah.
So, but no. So iOS or the Apple iPhone announcement. Obviously, I'm excited about. Ordered the new one this morning. Get it next week. So I'll have a review for you next week. And but I think the thing that I was most blown away by, I mean, it was an oh shit moment for me, was the podcast thing that I did.
Yeah.
By taking a Tech with Ty email and just throwing it into Google's Notebook LM, and it automated the podcast. And I did it this morning. I threw in 7 or 8 Inman or real estate news links, and it did another 10.5-minute podcast for me. And I'm like, I love that for me, just because I don't have time to read 8 articles right now. I can do that on my way to work.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like about that, though, Tyler, is that we just started talking about how we're going to do this, and now here you are taking our jobs away.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else.
Yeah.
So no, we'll see how long I can keep it up, but it's not hard. It takes me maybe 2 minutes max.
Why don't you expand on that a little bit, just so the audience knows what you're talking about exactly?
Yeah. So if you do receive Tech with Ty, it was at the very bottom of the email yesterday, and it's a download. Basically, all I did was there's a product called Google Notebook LM, which stands for Language Model, and it's like an AI assistant for taking notes, very similar to what we just talked about. But also, it does so much more. It can be your research assistant. It can create an FAQ. It can create guides for you and stuff like that. So it's really, really cool and intuitive. But one of the buttons on there, I think, is audio summary or something like that. I forget, audio output. I don't remember what it's called now. But you hit a button and it will automatically take, like, all I did was click on a link from my Google document, which we write all of our Tech with Ties in Google Drive. That way Abby and I can share, she can edit everything, and we copy and paste that into our email software. But so I just linked the document, and within 2 minutes, it created an entire podcast based on that draft email. And so, I mean, it's people talking in depth with references that I didn't even make in the email. So it's crazy to me that it's able to have that kind of the rhetoric between the two co-hosts, if you will. It's a male and a female. But, they're giving personal analogies, or he says, I remember when I first started learning HTML, it's like, you didn't learn HTML. Like, you are HTML. But, well, more than that. But anyway, it's insane. You can create a full podcast now just by a document. And so this morning, I was like, I wonder how far I can push this. And I grabbed 8 links from Real Estate News, Inman, Housing Wire, whatever it was, and threw them in there. And it said, well, we love to cover real estate. We've got a stack of articles in front of us to go over today. And it just started going through them, talking about them in between the two AIs. And it's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. One of the cooler features in the new, Pixel is that you can actually hit a button during a call, and it will actually take all of the information that was said during the call between you and the caller and summarize it so you can go reference it later. So if I'm having an initial phone call with a new buyer or seller or whatever, and they're going through details about the house, I don't have to take notes anymore. I can literally hit this call summary feature, and then I can actually ask Gemini, hey, can you, I need to know what so-and-so said during this call about, what their address was or how many square feet their home was or whatever. So the call summary feature is pretty amazing, that you no longer have to take notes or anything during a phone call. You just hit a button and it automatically, creates a summary of what that call went over.
That's awesome, Cameron. That's literally what I was just about to ask both of y'all right now. Like, how do you relate this to real estate, make yourself a little bit more efficient, a little bit more competent, and just getting things done, right? Because I know I'll be the first person to raise my hand. I'm one of those that I'm like, I see tech, I think it's cool, but I don't want to be implementation, right? Implementation is hard, but you guys have shown me how some of this stuff is so simple that will make the rest of my life easier, right? In the real estate game.
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and Cameron, I would say you're an above average user. I think I'm an above average user, especially for an Apple guy.
Probably.
But no, I think one thing Apple does well that, I can go through and I use 50 different tools and create these Frankenstein, connect this with that, and automate a lot of stuff. But the average person's not going to do that. You just want to hit a button and it works. And I think that's where AI comes in and works so well, whether it's Gemini or Nimesh. You and I had a call the other day that I was like, hey, let me try this feature out. And it was the same thing. I hit the record button, summarized it afterwards, sent Nimesh the notes afterwards. And it's insane. Like that is like.
But see, I think that's where you guys are doing really well with your agents. And I'm going to try to, I'm learning from you guys is that, okay, you both are above average tech people, definitely above average. I'm what you probably call average, where I can understand it. I can kind of see the gist of what's going on, but then the implementation is the hard part, right? And so right now, lately, you have been showing me little things that make a difference that I'm able to do fairly easily. And even that conversation we had, right? I felt like we were just on the phone for like maybe 15, 20 minutes. and you send me the summary of all the things that we covered, which was absolutely amazing, right?
It's
so
incredible.
because these days you just want to talk, and then next thing you know, you forgot half the points that you talked about, right? Half the things that you almost have to have 18 conversations just to get to a certain point. And after that recording and summarization, I'm able to sit there and take notes and say, okay, done. Let's not forget about this. Let's put this on my task list or my agenda and to-do list.
Yep.
And so, but I do love the fact that a lot of this is becoming more automated. And for all you guys out there that are listening, literally not an above average person, just an average person right here. And I'm learning a lot from these guys and how to make things easier. So definitely jump in on it.
So
I'm
I
a
think,
big. No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry, Ty. No, I was just going to say, so one recurring class that I do for all my agents is efficiency, because we can teach agents how to get busy and things like that. But once they do get busy, one of the biggest issues they have is with efficiency and just keeping their head on straight, and all that. So quite honestly, I'm trying to figure out, like you said, I'm like, I think we're all kind of in this initial onset of AI and how it can make your life easier and things like that. I have a ton of smart home stuff at my house and whatnot, and just like different, tasks and things that I have that stuff do at home. I'm trying to implement them into my real estate business and then teach my agents how to be more efficient as well, by using technology. And yes, not everybody gets it. Not everybody, it's definitely above a lot of people's heads. But at the same time, it's just going to become more and more useful. And it's pretty cool. Some of the stuff that I've learned just in the last week of having this phone, and playing around with Gemini Advanced and building gems and stuff like that, is pretty nuts, in terms of kind of streamlining some tasks that used to take me longer.
How are your agents reacting, both of y'all, or either one of y'all? How are your agents reacting to some of these things that you bring to them? And I know, Tyler, you have the whole platform of Tech with Ty. How are they taking it?
I think it's easy to get in the weeds with some of this stuff. And Mark Berger said you're all fired. And Mark has a great saying that, it's not cutting edge, sometimes it's bleeding edge. And we've learned from our mistakes, and we continue to make other mistakes. But I love testing and breaking technology. Like, that's just what I love doing. So for implementation for the agents, a lot of times I'll go through and I'll, try 20 different things. And sometimes none of those 20 will stick.
Yep.
And I try to review them in Tech with Ty. I put them out to our agents and stuff like that. But when I find one that really sticks, just as an example, when I told you about the call silencing, right? What's it called? I'm drawing a blank right now.
Oh, the mic isolation, the voice isolation?
Voice isolation. So when I told you about that, like, those are things that I forget. It's such a simple thing that anyone can implement. It takes you 2 seconds and you're done. It's set it and forget it. And so I think with agents especially, it's easy to explain something, but they don't necessarily care how you got from point A to point B. It's like, I tell them all the time, it's like a light switch. You don't care how the electricity got from the power plant to your office, the panel and the amperage and everything that has to do with that, and how that connected to your light and the switch. You just know that when it works, it works. It turns on, it turns off, and that's it. And so anything that we try to introduce tech-wise, that's what we focus on, because agents don't want to mess around with stuff that they're going to have to spend hours learning. So I try to take that on to me with, here's what I've learned. It took me, and I'm going to use this as an example, our KV core sites. It took me a long time on a new platform to learn how to utilize those. But what I did in 6 hours would have taken some of our agents probably 20 to 30. And once I got it down, then it took me 10 minutes. So now I can show you how to do it in less than 10 minutes. They'll do that, but they're not going to go spend 6 hours doing something.
Sure. And that's our next Wednesday meeting, is all marketing. So a lot of it's going to be going around. First of all, I always use fishing analogies, even though I don't fish, but like hook and bait. And so I think our websites are the ultimate hook, and all of our marketing drives traffic back to the website. The marketing's the bait, the website's the hook. So the new website builder that KV Core launched, I think, is way better, so much easier. I wish that was the way it was from the beginning. Right. And so that's going to be a solid, 30-minute go through, because I think the previous page builders on KV Core were tough for some agents to grasp, and this is super, super easy. So, just making it easier for agents.
I love that. Again, going back to just an average person when it comes to technology, I don't want to. You're absolutely right. I know what I'm good at. I know what I need to outsource or, try to have somebody else figure out for me, because I don't want to waste my time going through all this process. I want to get to a point where, hey, just turn on the switch and we're good to go. The funniest thing is, Tyler, with that whole mic isolation thing, you know how many people think I'm a guru now? Because all I'm doing is telling them, hey, just do this, right? And the other day I was talking to a client and their dogs were going crazy in the background. And I said, hey, listen, are y'all both? And they were both on a conference call. So one was like, I can hear the wind. So it must have been in the backyard. And the other one was with the dogs. So I said, hey, are you both on your iPhones? Yes. Okay. Hey, do me a favor. Get on speaker. All right. Now swipe down, press this, do this. And both of them were like, oh my God, you're a genius. You're not only the best real estate agent ever, you're a tech guru. I'm like, that's my boy Ty, but that's fine. I'll take it,
Just take it and go like this. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that you guys are saying that that y'all are putting that time and effort into doing this for your agents, because I think a lot of agents don't, appreciate that, right? Because, you go to any single real estate company, you go to any single brand, anything out there, and we're not here to talk bad about anyone. It's just that everyone offers, for the most part, everyone offers something cool, something neat, something efficient, just they offer up everything. The agents, they decide if they like a brand or not when they feel like they don't have it, but it's not that they don't have it. They just don't want to go and implement it. They don't have the time to, or the know-how to do it. So as you're teaching everybody, hey, what these tools are in your brokerage and at your brand, then they can't really complain about it. Right.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add to that because it was perfect.
No, literally. I mean, you're exactly right. No, I think, just personal involvement in what your agents are doing is very important. And we're seeing some, new models go away from that. So I definitely think that, I always try to stay really, really one-on-one as much as I can with my agents. And I know I have smaller brokerages than you guys, but at the same time, I do like that personal interaction and, helping the agent accomplish their specific goal. And obviously classroom settings fine too, in small form. But at the same time, if I can sit down and say, all right, what is your goal to an agent, and really help them from start to finish? Because some, like we talked about a minute ago, some agents are like way up here with technology. I have an agent that's right up there on my level, and I can go down that rabbit hole with him. But there's other agents that I have that if I go there, their eyes gloss over and they're like, no, I'm out. So, they just kind of zone out and think about what they're going to have for dinner. So at least I can take it to their level in those settings. So definitely.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. All right. I want to switch gears on tech for a minute.
Go for it.
Okay.
Articles, headlines. I don't know if you guys have read them or not. Talking about Robert Refkin and so Compass and EXP CEOs going head to head. Talking about clear cooperation.
Yeah.
Is it good for the industry? Is it bad for the industry?
I'll let Cameron start, but I'm gonna I'll do one sentence here. I think it all depends on what your actual client wants in the end, right? If your client says this is what I want, then you kind of have to do what they say. Now it's our job to educate them on seeing what's a better opportunity for them. So if your client says, no, I don't want it out there, I don't want clear cooperation and all that, well, then you have to deal with it. You just have to show them why it's more important. But go for it, Cameron. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's funny, the term clear cooperation, it was, forced on us years ago, 2018, 2019, that's when all the MLS had clear cooperation policies that they were required to put in place. And so now all of a sudden we've gone the opposite direction. But I do agree with Nimesh. I do agree that it should be the client that determines that. And, at the same time, I don't think every client's a good fit for the way I do my business. And maybe there will be a disagreement in that. So, time to move on. I mean, we've all been, we've all approached sellers and said, this is what I think your home's worth. This is what we should, list it for. And they say, no, it's worth, 20% more than that. And I'm like, all right, see you later. So, even if our views and whatnot don't line up, because I believe in clear cooperation and they don't want to do that, then that's just something we'll determine on a case by case basis. But, me personally, I'm a big proponent in clear cooperation. So I definitely recommend that to my sellers. And if they don't want to do it, then that's it. So
ditto.
Yep.
So my 2 cents is it depends.
Yeah.
And I agree. It does depend on the seller. The problem, I think, is that the MLS rules, depending on your MLS, have become too convoluted in some instances. For instance, if I have a seller, the way that one of my MLSs is set up, if I have a seller that wants to sign a listing agreement with me, right? They sign it today, I have to have it in the MLS within 24 hours, right? That doesn't give me time to order professional photos, to have it staged, to do all these things. So the one MLS I'm in allows for coming soon. We can do that. We're good to go. The other MLS I'm in doesn't allow for that. I have to put it in the MLS and make it withdrawn immediately, which makes
you guys have TO?
What's that?
You guys have TO? We have a temporarily off the market status that we can utilize for what you're saying.
That's withdrawn for us.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay, gotcha.
But currently, and I don't want to go too far. I am on MLS committee on that MLS. I know it's a topic of conversation, but currently withdrawn status still counts against days on market. So when it does go live, it shows, hey, this is actually 21 days on market. And people are going, why isn't that sold yet?
Right.
So that would be my caveat for why clear cooperation rules are bad.
Mm-hmm.
Just from a usefulness standpoint of, hey, this doesn't benefit my client at all. So now I have to make the decision as the agent. Do I risk not having a listing contract, order these photos, order staging, whatever it is, money out of my pocket prior to actually having that agreement signed?
So we actually have a workaround for those scenarios to where we have 2 options in our listing agreement. The first option, will be publicly marketed, et cetera, will be, and that requires it to be placed in the MLS. We have an option 2 that we can basically say, for now, it will not be publicly marketed in any way. You can market it in-house only, no sign in the yard, no social media posting, et cetera. It doesn't go in the MLS. And then you can go back, revise that listing agreement with an addendum, go back to option 1, which allows you to list it actively in the MLS, and then your days on market count starts. Now, RTO status, though, when we put it in temporarily off the market status, it does not accrue days on market. So that's helpful as well. But that's really only used if you were on the market and the seller suddenly says, hey, I got really sick, I can't show this week, so we put it in TO status. So that's something that would definitely be helpful in your market to implement that.
Yeah, and I like I said, I'm on the MLS committee. It's one of the changes that we're talking about. The other one was the exclusion from MLS, which would do exactly what you just said. Sign up for the exclusion from MLS, no marketing except for internal and your brokerage, and then do a change form and be done with it.
Yeah, that was all instituted when clear cooperation went into effect back in, 19 or 18, I forget.
19.
So
you know what's funny about that, Cameron? And both of you, actually, Ty as well. Like, I'm very similar to both of y'all, right? But it depends on which MLS. So you guys know I'm in Houston and in Austin, 2 totally different MLSs. And here we are talking about clear cooperation implemented by MLSs, and yet they can't even be on the same page. So, some of the things that you're saying, Tyler, I agree with. There's some of the things that Cameron's saying, I'm agree with. Like, okay, well, in Houston, I can do this. In Austin, I can't do this,
Yeah.
That's
Well, yeah, our entire state is, basically uses the SCR contract, so the South Carolina Association of Realtors contract, and except for the state capital where the real estate commission exists, they are a non-realtor owned MLS, so they have to do none of this. And I'm like, okay. So all 3 of my MLSs that I'm in the upstate of South Carolina, they all kind of conform to the same standard essentially, but yeah, the state capital where the real estate commission is, they don't. So it's weird.
Incredible.
Whatever.
Make it make sense, man. Make it make sense.
Yeah, sure. They're eating the dogs.
All right. So what else you guys want to talk about? What are you seeing in the market? Predictions for the rest of the year.
Our fall market's hot in Greenville, so it's always pretty good. The one thing normally, our fall market is chock full of retirees and first-time home buyers. Interest rates coming down a little bit definitely gets the first-time home buyers back. However, normally in the fall, we also see a lot of halfbacks, people that move from up northeast down to Florida, et cetera. Then they're moving halfway back. They're hitting Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina. Well, the Florida market's kind of hurting in terms of people being able to sell their homes. And so I'm wondering what impact that's going to have on our halfback market, which usually is pretty big in the fall. So overall, though, our market's cranking. I mean, we're a really desirable hot market. So we really haven't stumbled too much. July was a little bit slower. August picked right back up. And then September's been pretty busy. So overall, I think the fall is going to be pretty solid. Curious leading like immediately up to the election, what kind of sentiment there will be. But it's kind of a silly reason to kind of postpone a major life decision like buying a home. I'd probably just go ahead and pull the trigger because, obviously everything's kind of leading us in the direction of interest rates continuing to, fall steadily, slowly but steadily. So now's the time to buy. So I think our market will do pretty well in the fall and winter.
It's good to hear. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, my LO just came in and sent me an email earlier today that the chance, because they were debating between 0.25% interest drop, and chances just increased. They were originally like 15 or 20% that they were going to be half, and now it's 50-50.
Yeah.
So
I'll be curious.
Yeah, 5/8 is that magic number. I mean, we know that from home builders. That's what they have to offer to get people off the fence. Nimesh, you were at the same conference I was in San Diego with Brian Buffini talking about 40% of home sales coming in the fourth quarter of this year. I don't think it's going to be 40%, but I'd love to hear both of your estimations on what that number is.
Yeah, 40% for the fourth quarter. That sounds like a lot, right? I think I agree with Cameron that there are a lot of people that are sitting on the fence because of the elections, right? For whatever reasons, people think that up top that's going to affect them right then and there. No, it's not. You're making a life-changing decision here, and that's not going to affect you so much. But I think the interest rates do affect you. What a lot of people also don't understand is that we have these, the Fed meeting next week and all of that. That doesn't mean that something is going to change. A lot of these lenders have already accounted for this, right? Because just like how you're saying that 15% or 50%, they start gambling on that, for lack of a better word. They start gambling on what that is. So they've already lowered these interest rates as it is, anticipating that change anyhow. Now, will we see a little bit more of a drop through the rest of the year? Probably. And I think that we're going to be getting 5.5, right? We're going to get about 5.5 for a typical 30-year conventional note for a minute there. But here's the dangerous part too, right? It's all this pent up demand that's there because we're still, in all intents and purposes, we're still having a lack of inventory for the most part. What are these sellers doing when their houses are so overpriced because they're trying to price it from 2021 and 22 still, right? So I think that's, as soon as you can have a serious conversation with a seller, the sooner we'll start getting more transactions done, right? Because all these guys that think that they can get 20%, like Cameron said, 20% over what the market value is, that's not true, right? Now, with the interest rates dropping, you might be able to get 3 to 5% over what the market is dictating if you have a good house. But I do, as far as predictions go, I do think that we're going to have a solid fourth quarter, which is going to lead right into 2025. I know one of the questions I asked my agents daily is, that whole, I call it the Y2K, which is August 17th. When Y2K came and went, August 17th, it really affect you? No, it didn't. We were prepared. We had some knowledge. We knew how to navigate. We have changes that happen in our industry every single year. We have contract changes all the time. So did it blow up? No, nothing blew up. Your computer didn't blow up. Your phone didn't blow up. So are y'all having any issues? Haven't seen any drop off really at all. So I see a very, very positive fourth quarter, but I see even a better 2025, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah, I almost feel like the fourth quarter being 40% of sales this year is not going to happen. I think if we're over 25%. That's going to be record setting for our fourth quarter.
Sure.
But I think you're going to see a lot of carryover into 2025.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when you're talking about 25% or 40%, we're talking about the full year, right? Well, the first part of this year was absolutely amazing, right? So the first quarter, everybody knows, first quarter was phenomenal here. And then the slowdown happened basically, May, June. But after that first quarter, you can't sit there and think that, okay, we're going to have a 40% increase here in the fourth quarter. I think that's too much. So.
Lockie, you're on board.
No.
Look at that guy.
Lockie. Look at him. If we want to talk
what
percentages, though.
What did I miss?
Do you even know where you are?
He doesn't know where it is.
I just saw a link and I clicked on it. I thought it was a Pornhub link.
It's the comedic relief.
Well, we're live right now, Lockie. So okay.
Across social media.
So,
Yeah,
Lockie, what is your prediction? How many sales by the end of the year?
Say that again.
What's your prediction on the amount or percentage of sales in the fourth quarter of this year compared to Brian Buffini's estimate of 40%?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna hit 40. I mean, even with the change in interest rates, that hasn't jolted our buyers or the sellers sitting on the fence the way I thought it would. I mean, we're down like a whole point or more, I think, right now than we were a couple months ago, and it hasn't jolted them yet. I don't know if we're really going to come down much more. I think we will, but I don't know if that's going to really get as many people as we would hope off the fence. I'd say like 25 to 30.
I said anything over 25, I'm real happy with.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, what else are you seeing in your market? How many months supply inventory do you guys have?
Man, I will tell you what I keep seeing in our market is just price reductions. Stuff sitting 30, 45, 60 days. Everyone still thinks that their house is worth this much, and we're learning that it's not. I have two on my own block that started probably 50,000 over the actual sales price of what it will eventually close for. We're seeing a lot of price adjustments because the market time is building up. Excuse me. Sorry.
So do you think we're seeing 5% correction, 10% correction?
Ooh, I would like to see 10%. I think we're close to 5 right now.
My aunt and uncle are selling their house in Naperville, and they're like, we can't get any traction. What are you seeing? And so that's not too far from where Lockie is. So they're definitely feeling it. And they have a house under contract contingent on their home. So, yeah.
What's their price point in Naperville, Cameron?
Oh, I think they're selling. I think their house is on the market for 8. I'm not exactly sure, somewhere in there, but they're So it's a struggle.
Hey.
Everything over 750 is sitting much longer than it was. It's that like 7 to 5 is still moving a little bit. It obviously varies from neighborhood to neighborhood, but I mean that's a good size home in Naperville for like 8.
Sure.
It's a very high price point over there. I mean, houses sell for $1 million and more.
No, for sure.
Those are sitting even longer, I would say.
You know what we're seeing a lot right now, and just something that I've been trying to coach my agents on to be better at, is that typically when you have a house that hasn't sold in, let's just say 6 months, right? 6 months has been sitting there, or, for 4 months plus. What do the sellers do? They usually typically start interviewing other agents to see if they can do a better job. We're actually starting to see that after 30 days. 30 days, and the sellers are like calling my agents, and my agents are calling me, what can we do? I go, well, as long as they invite you, you didn't solicit, you're welcome to go on that listing appointment. But the whole point about it is having that transparency, having the conversation. And what's really interesting is that I've seen quite a bit of my agents getting these listings from the previous listing agent. They've gotten the price lowered, and they're offering more compensation or concessions. So they're actually having the real serious conversation versus, oh yeah, let's just put it up there for whatever price and see what happens. And here we are, 30 days later, and there's actually zero engagement on that home. So that's actually a pretty neat thing that we're seeing.
It's really hit or miss too, honestly. I'll have, one home, one part of town priced, at the same as a home on the exact other side of town, and quite honestly, you'll have one with 0 showings, and both great parts of town. It's just a matter of like it's coming in pockets, and so we're seeing one home fly off the shelf, and we're seeing another kind of sit there and linger for a little bit. But I do agree. I think we got way too used to the like stick a sign in the ground and it'll sell in 10 seconds. So once agents and the public really realize that, you know, that's not necessarily reality right now, that'll be helpful because it's been a long time since an agent has had to continually, you know, time block, you know, time to go feedback, catch up with their seller and say, this is what the market's doing, and things like pull showing time reports and things like that, and really try to keep their clients apprised of what's going on. And so just really interesting. I
You just made Cameron's day, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Dude, it's 18% up. I'm like, what happened? I mean, so I was actually going to go into that in a minute. But yeah, it's definitely my biggest leader in my portfolio today from a percentage standpoint. But yeah, Remax stock is up 18% today. It's pretty nuts. But anyway, so going back to what I was saying, the overall, it's coming in waves, and I think sellers just need to temper expectations. But I also think the realtor has to, set expectations out of the gate and say, listen, we are not 2021 anymore. It's going to take a little time. And I think that conversation really needs to be had in the beginning, but I think a lot of agents are afraid to have it
100%.
Because they don't want to come off on the wrong foot where they're saying like they're being pessimistic. They don't want to come off pessimistic.
Cameron, what did you say when you first started, right? At the beginning of this video, you said that not every agent or every client is for you, and you're not for every client, right? You're able to walk away.
Yep. No doubt about it.
Why do you want to get a bad reputation? Because no matter what, your reputation is on the line, no matter if you're right or wrong, or the seller's right or wrong. So why not have that conversation up front, walk away from it there versus 4 months down the road where you're like, okay, well, I told you so. Well, I told you so doesn't really put any money in your pocket or do anything.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. And, I don't take overpriced listings. And, I always keep up with them and look at MLS and see how long they've been on the market. And once they get to my, list price that I advise them to go with, then I'm like, see, kind of in my mind, told you so. I never actually, make that comment publicly, but whatever.
Right.
I would send them a mailer that says "told you so."
We got that Southern hospitality down here, Lockie. Can't do that.
Awesome.
Right. We just say bless. I'll send them a postcard that says "bless your heart." That's what
There you go.
You're using a Dana Tuggle line from the South. Bless his heart.
There you go. Bless your heart.
No, I think it speaks volumes, though, to how localized things are with markets, because we talked about this on our last one, Nimesh, on, the headlines I was reading were like, oh my gosh, the doom and gloom of Florida and Austin, Texas. Yeah. And, when I talk to you, you're like, no, man, things are still selling. Like, and there are pockets for sure that we have stuff sitting on the market a little bit longer, and price range pockets specifically that are sitting in the market a little bit longer. So not only is it, go ahead.
No, go. You go.
No, so not only is it location based, but it is those price range pockets of, hey, and depending on your market, it's, 500 to 750 is in my market, that has slowed down. But in Lockie's market, that may be the one that's on fire just because the average price range is 750, right? So it's weird to see the dynamic and see how it works all over the country. And I love these interactions because we get to hear how it is localized and how it is working differently in specific areas. But you nailed it on the head when you said it's about setting expectations. That I think is, it's not just the 3 Ps, put your sign in the yard, put it in the MLS and pray. Mm-hmm. It's that we were blessed to have that for the last few years. And that's why so many agents, I think, what was the stat that we saw? Like 90% of agents have never seen a market with houses on the market over 45 days.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
No, absolutely.
And so, you have agents that are not able to have those conversations. They don't know how to have the conversations up front about, hey, we're going to put this on the market. Things are a little weird right now, but we're going to put this on the market for 2 weeks. And if we don't have 10 showings or an offer within those first 2 weeks, we're going to have a price drop, and it's going to be to this.
Yeah. But see, what you're doing there, Tyler, is you're actually coming up with a strategy, right? A true plan to say, hey, let's try this, but here's why, and here's what we're going to do on our side to get this to this level. And if it doesn't, after we see all the numbers from engagement to how many hits we have to what all my marketing that we've done, after we get all that engagement from open houses and all that, then we're going to have this plan, right? Sorry, Cameron, we're not going to have a concept of a plan.
You freaking stole it from me.
A concept of a plan.
Yeah. Oh man. On that note, have a great day. Thanks for
yeah, right.
Oh shit.
But no, again, even prior to, right, even with when the market was really, really hot and we could pretty much put anything up there and things would be getting multiple offers, I still had that plan, though, with everybody. I said, listen, we're going to go at this price point, and here's what we're going to look for. And here's what I'm looking for. So depending on what price range we're at, we're going to put this on the market on a Thursday. We're going to do open houses that weekend. I'd like to see X amount of engagement. I'd like to also see what I'm getting from my email marketing, from my online marketing, and from my social media posts. I'd like to see all those numbers, and then I'm going to show those to you in next week. And then the following week, we're going to follow up on it again. And so I typically tell everybody 2 to 3 week period, depending on where we are and what price point we're at, 2 to 3 week period, we're going to have an answer of what kind of engagement we really got. And at that point, here's the number that I would like to go to. Or it could have been adding a different concession to it, right? A bonus or, something like that. But I always had that up front, so they weren't shocked by it and said, oh my God, why are you telling us to do this? You just took the listing just to take the listing. No, we didn't. Here's why, So I think that's what a lot of agents now are afraid to have that conversation. And that's what we're hopefully teaching our agents to do. And they have a better experience overall.
Yeah.
One of the things I had in my playbook years ago was my 8-week marketing campaign. And it was all about front loading the campaign before we even had your house on the market, and how much marketing money we spent, up front. And we didn't, I got rid of that from 2018 to 2024 because we didn't have 8 weeks on the market ever.
No.
And if I showed people an 8-week marketing campaign during that time, they would have looked at me and said, what do you mean my house is going to be in the market for 2 months? Like, they'd be like, next agent, please. But I think we're hitting a time where that will be more relevant. Maybe it's customized and now it's 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it might be. But it's something we're absolutely going to revisit.
That's a good one. I'm gonna steal that one.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because like now, as you said, sellers are kind of feeling out other opportunity or options or whatever after 30 days. When 2-3 years ago, if the house was on the market and got 10 offers in the first day, they'd be like, we priced too low. What are you doing? And so make up your mind. So,
yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're closing in on an hour, so wanted to open it up for any last comments, questions. Obviously, anyone watching, feel free to ask questions. We're happy to jump in and talk nonsense about anything.
I've been waiting for this moment in the whole video. You ready?
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Well, Tyler, what happened to your boys last weekend against my Cowboys? We had a bet, which I'm still waiting for you to.
Now's the time, right? Now's the time.
Now's the time. So, but then the other one is I'm putting that challenge right back out to Lucky because my boys are playing them. So, we'll see.
I don't understand how Nimesh gets to have 2 boys, Cowboys and Texans. Like, you got to claim one team, dude.
Well, the Cowboys 100%, but I live in Houston. Of course I like the Texans. Now, if they ever play each other, which they are doing this year, and I'm actually going to, it's a Monday night football game in Dallas, I'm going to be wearing my Cowboys jersey for sure, right?
Were you a fan of them before they were relevant?
Who?
The Texans?
Yeah, I mean, I live in Houston, of course. I'm a Love Ya Blue fan, Houston Oilers. Once they left us, we had no team, right? Look at that.
I forgot you're that old to have cheered for the Oilers.
Of course I had Love Ya Blue. I'm the Oilers all day long, bro. But anyway, we're in 2 different conferences. I don't care. All I'm saying is Texans play your stupid Bears, who really got lucky this past week. So, You gonna do the same bet or no?
Great teams find ways to win.
Okay, well, your team sucks.
Well, hopefully by then we have a new quarterback. I don't know if he's lately, but that's been the topic of conversation. But
Nimesh, I saw you donated your surfboard to the Torchbearers event because I saw a surfboard in there, and then I'm like, wait a second, there's not a 60 and under Torchbearers, so you definitely weren't there.
All right, so for my public acknowledgement that the Cowboys are a better team than the Browns.
There you go.
During week 1, that is a very true statement. Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys and Nimesh.
Thank you. Look at that. You got Donna and Gregory talking about the boys.
Yeah, Tom's not watching her. He'd be jumping in too.
And I have no Steelers fans in the mix, so
yeah, you would have thought that they would be the only team in the AFC North with a freaking win. No one.
With 1 foot to blame. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, gang, I gotta go. Have a great Friday. Have a good weekend. See you guys.
You too.
Fair
All right. Well, any last thoughts or comments, boys?
No.
No, I think
one. I don't know. I don't have a buzz, but I have a caffeine buzz. That's about it.
Yeah. No, listen.
This is drinking a hazy.
Not yet. I am getting there, like in 1 hour.
All right. Well, today's drink of choice, Nimesh must be on the wagon, but today's drink of choice for me was the Heaven Hill bottle.
Oh, nice.
Bond. So
I'll do it next time. Was that full at the beginning?
What? No. Yeah.
Was that full at the beginning?
It's gone now.
Mine's a St. Arnold's, but it's a root beer.
Aw. We're doing that again?
You know how I do. I just go for a couple of months at a time, so we'll see.
Like the real estate market.
Yeah, like the real estate market. No, but hey,
like
listen, it's always
productivity, the roller coaster.
Yeah, always great listening to you guys and other people. Anybody else out there listening, love to get your comments, thoughts, even get on here. Tyler and I were talking about this for a little bit. So, hey, look, let's just get up here, talk about anything and everything. You don't have to have a true agenda. Don't have to talk about anything absolutely specific for that moment. It could be anything at all, like the Cowboys. So, love you guys.
Definitely. You too, man. And next time I'll be in a more suitable studio.
All good.
I like the dungeon, man.
No, the bank vault. Yeah.
Sweet.
I will.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching.
Right, guys.
We'll see you next time.
Definitely. All right.
Don't leave, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry.